Greetings from Finnish Postal Strike after service. That is, this album was already coming to me in early, I guess, November, being a late October release, and now finally in early December I got this one. So it's a little bit late, but like the saying goes, good music never gets old, right? This is Despised Icon from Canada with their album called Purgatory. Let's do a little bit unboxing. So this band has been there quite a while, released quite a few releases already, and some say this is the easiest one to get to know the band and like it. Some call it deathcore, which is, I think, quite truthful, but I would say this is more closer to your average death metal than deathcore as such, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Being from Canada, this is surprisingly on Nuclear Blast release, that is surprisingly well done, and being Nuclear Blast, I mean most Canadian bands probably won't make it. I don't know how well or big this band is by now. I don't have the time to check out those facts, but let me tell you this much. I think the band has totally found the right kind of label, because what has been done here is just excellent, top-notch production. This must be one of the heaviest album I've heard through the end of the year, and let me tell you, beyond black metal, I listen to a lot of death metal as well, and still I felt like wow effect coming when I was listening to this album, both in my car and here at home, because the kind of a distinctive, heavy, clear, and really nicely mixed album actually sounds very, very crushing with its guitars, drums, bass, and whatnot. Actually, if you have a good subwoofer and you're listening to this album, you will find some wonderful frequencies going really low, like the stuff that your chair is exactly shaking. And that is something wonderful. I mean, I like really low frequencies, but obviously in black metal they are not that much present. But with good death metal, or even deathcore, slam, so forth, you might have those frequencies when the mixing is rightly done. Anyway, about Despised Icon being kind of a deathcore versus death metal, let's put it this way. If Slipknot wanted to do a death metal album, and they were going back all the way to Iowa, which I think is their heaviest, their most death metallic album of all times, and they went to that time, or that style, back to that, and wanted to kind of push it up to 11, like the Spinal Tap show goes, this is what they might sound like. Because this is very much like technical death metal, but also a little bit deathcore-ish. I wouldn't say this is new metal, and I wouldn't say this is pure deathcore either, because some of those riffs and the vocals used are way more your typical slam/death metal. I mean, there are breakdown parts, and there are parts that are somewhere between deathcore or death metal. They might fit actually the both genres. But to me, in my opinion, this sounds way more death metal than deathcore. So if you're like a little bit scared of deathcore being like, oh, it's some young guy, small core band trying to sound heavy and blah blah blah, I think that's bullcrap. This is very much on the top of the modern and kind of a technical death metal style. But since there are those breakdowns and gent parts, this is somewhere like along the lines with bands like Meshuggah and the stuff, but a little bit different. Let's say North American style of what would be Meshuggah style and all that stuff. So being kind of a hybrid, this album is nicely done. It's not the most memorable riffs here, but the overall sound compared to so many other albums is like just mind-blowing. And also, some of those riffs are just plain interesting. Some of them are really fast-paced, and the playing is really accurate as hell. And it's created in a wonderful, heavy way that it's just like blasting away so many weaklings. Now, when it comes to vocals, the range is pretty wide. It starts from kind of a cleanish vocals, you know, what you would expect to hear on Slipknot, but they are quickly turned into sort of a growling. So that is like, they might start from here, and then go like, you know, the kind of stuff. Also, there are these kind of a pig squealish type of parts when it reminds me of brutal death metal and even grindcore bands. So it's like quite a versatile world what we have here on this album, and I think it's nicely done. Obviously, it's not for everybody because some people want to keep their death metal more traditional or old school, and some people want to have their grindcore very pure with their style and all that stuff. So obviously, Despised Icon is fighting a hard battle. But I think they are winning this time because of these different elements. When they're put together, they make sense. And it's not like they're repeating just one song or they're trying too much or having too many weird gimmicks which don't make sense on the long run. I think they have find a nice balance when these all of these things and elements actually make sense. So from my point of view, be you a death metal head or a deathcore fan, whatever kind of a fan of a heavier, more extreme style of death metal elements, I think you should be checking out Despised Icon, especially this album Purgatory, because it has all the cool elements. It could be better, sure. Every time there is no album that couldn't be better, except maybe, I don't know, Slayer's Rain in Blood. But when it comes to this kind of genre, this is very, very close to being a great album. So it's definitely good, maybe more than just good. But it's hard cookie for some people to crack. Anyway, give it a chance if you think death metal, modern stuff especially, suits you. And there you have it. I hope you do like it, and if not, too bad. Take care and bye-bye.